So hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel Med School with Shubham. I am Shubham, a third professional MBBS student and I shall be teaching you anatomy. I have started a series on embryology on my YouTube channel in which I have completed the first, second and third week of development and also completed the first part of the placenta formation. I have completed the entire placenta formation in my previous lecture, and in this lecture we will be talking about the functions of placenta and also the types of placenta. These two are also very important question in the university exam. So what are functions of placenta? So the first important function of placenta is the exchange of gases, the exchange of nutrients, the exchange of the metabolic waste, and the transfer of maternal antibodies from mother to the fetus, and transfer of the drugs from the mother's body to the fetus, and also the hormone production. Now exchange of gases means what? The oxygen will be provided by the mother to the fetus, and fetus will give the carbon dioxide back to the mother's blood. So this is called this. So this is the exchange of gases. Exchange of nutrients means transfer of nutrients actually, that is from mother's blood to the fetus. Metabolic waste, the metabolic waste that shall be generated in the fetus shall be thrown into the mother's blood. So and also transfer of the maternal antibodies. So in the initial stages, when the fetus is in the womb of in the uterus, they can't actually make the antibodies. So therefore the transfer, so the maternal antibodies are being transferred. So antibodies are transferred from mother to the fetus, ready-made antibodies. And also some drugs are also transferred from the mother to the fetus. And also various hormones are being prepared by this placenta, which are very necessary for the pregnancy, to run that pregnancy. So these are all the very important functions of the placenta. So now we will be learning about the types of the placenta. So we will be learning the types of placenta under three criteria. The first criteria is according to the position of the placenta. According to the position of the placenta. So according to the position of the placenta, there are two types of placenta. The first one is the placenta parietalis. Placenta parietalis. And the next one is the placenta praevia. Placenta parietalis and the placenta praevia. So what is placenta parietalis? If the placenta is seen, usually the placenta is seen on the posterior wall of the fundus of the uterus. But if it is seen on any other wall, that is on the anterior wall or on the side wall of the fundus of the uterus, then it is called as the placenta parietalis. What is placenta praevia? Placenta praevia, in my previous lectures, I think so in the second lecture of the first week of development, I used the term placenta praevia and I told that I shall be explaining it that in the placenta formation lecture. So here I shall be explaining about placenta praevia. So what is placenta praevia? So if the placenta takes place, if the placenta is formed in the lower uterine segment, if this is the uterus, this is the upper uterine segment and this is the lower uterine segment. The placenta should be formed in the upper uterine segment anywhere. But if the placenta forms in the lower uterine segment, then it is called as the placenta praevia. And there are four types of placenta praevia. The primary, the 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degree, and the 4 degree placenta praevia. In this way, there are four types of placenta praevia. So let's draw the diagram for that. So this is the uterus. Okay. Now, if it is formed in the upper uterine segment, So if it is formed in the upper uterine segment, that is in the fundus of the uterus, then it is in the normal position. But if the placenta if the placenta shifts to the lower uterine segment, this is the lower uterine segment. If it is formed in the lower uterine segment, How will it form in the lower uterine segment? If the implantation takes place in the lower uterine segment, over here or here, then the placenta will be formed in the lower uterine segment. So, if the implantation takes place in the lower uterine segment, then the placenta will be formed there. So, if the placenta is formed at the junction of the upper and the lower uterine segment, then it is called as the 1 degree placenta praevia. Next, if the placenta is formed entirely in the second uterine, in the lower uterine segment, it is called as 2 degree placenta praevia. Third, if the placenta is formed between the internal os and the lower part of the lower uterine segment, this is the internal os, that is the opening of the uterus. It is called as internal os. So if it is formed partly in the lower uterine segment and partly it covers the internal os, then it is 3 degree placenta praevia. And if it is completely formed in the over the internal os, if it is completely formed over the internal os, then it is 4 degree placenta praevia. Let me name. This is 1 degree placenta praevia, 2 degree placenta praevia, 3 degree placenta praevia, and the 4 degree placenta praevia. I hope this is very clear. 1 degree and 2 degree placenta praevia are not so dangerous for the delivery and for the growth of the baby. But when it comes to 3 degree and 4 degree placenta praevia, till some extent 3rd degree placenta praevia doesn't even cause much complication, as when during delivery, whenever this cervix gets dilated, so this 3rd degree placenta praevia also gets shifted to in the lower uterine segment. It goes in the upper side a bit, and the baby can now deliver very easily. But when it comes to 4 degree placenta praevia, now the normal vaginal delivery is very difficult or less impossible, because the opening is itself blocked by the placenta. Therefore, in 4 degree placenta praevia, and sometimes also even in 3 degree placenta praevia, the doctor doesn't go for the normal vaginal delivery. I hope this is very clear to you guys. Yeah, these points, the types of placenta or itself the placenta praevia, can come under the clinical anatomy in this topic. So assume that I am explaining you the clinical anatomy only. So this was about the position of the placenta. Now let's come to in the next part, according to the position of placenta. The next is the according to the shape of the placenta. Shape of placenta. So what should be the normal shape of the placenta? So the normal shape of placenta is discoidal shape, means disc shape, this way, disc shape, okay, and in this shape, and from here, from the middle, we should get the umbilical cord, okay. But there are different types of placenta. There are different types of placenta based on the shapes of the placenta. So the first one is the bilobed placenta. Bilobed means this is one lobe of the placenta and this is the another lobe of the placenta. You can say 2 equal lobes of placenta are formed. And now assume that this is the blood vessel. These 2 equal lobes has their independent blood supply. Then it is called as bilobed placenta placenta. Bilobed placenta. The second one is the multilobular placenta. Multilobular placenta means what? Various small lobules will be formed inside the placenta. Means itself it will be a single placenta, but you can see various independent lobules will be formed, and all these independent lobules will have its separate blood supply. So this is called as multilobular placenta. Then the third one is the diffused placenta. Diffused placenta. As I said, that placenta should be discoidal in the shape, but in diffused placenta, the placenta is just diffused in any shape. It is just diffused over the decidua basalis. Mostly it is rectangular in shape, roughly rectangular in shape. Okay, and this will be the blood supply over there. Okay, so this is a diffuse type of placenta. The fourth one is the placenta succenturiata. Succenturiata. What is placenta succenturiata? This is the original placenta. Assume this is the original placenta. It had its independent blood supply. Now what will happen? After some time, a small part from this placenta gets separated from this part, and now we will get a small independent small part of the placenta beside that, and this small part will have its blood supply from this main branch of the placenta. Means what? This is the main placenta and this is a successor of the main placenta. I hope. Succenturiata means successor. Successor means it has derived from a bigger part. Therefore, it is the successor of this main placenta. Therefore, it is called as placenta succenturiata. Now, many of the students might be thinking, then what is the difference between the bilobed placenta and the placenta succenturiata? So, see guys, in the bilobed placenta, both of the lobes were equal in shape and size. But here, one is a bigger lobe and one is a smaller lobe. Also, both of the lobe has its independent blood supply. But here, the blood supply is single to the bigger one, and a smaller branch from the blood supply to the bigger one, it's going towards the placenta. So this is the difference between the multilobed and the bilobed and the placenta succenturiata. So the fifth one is the placenta. So the fourth one was placenta succenturiata. Then the fifth one is the placenta fenestrata. Placenta fenestrata. Fenestrata, as the name itself shows, that if this is the placenta, it should be actually circular. So there will be a small fenestration. Fenestration means a hole inside the placenta. So this is called as placenta fenestrata. Okay. And there will be one more part which is called as circumvallate placenta. So the sixth one is the circumvallate placenta. The sixth one is the circumvallate placenta. So what is circumvallate placenta? Assume this is the decidua basalis, and over that we have the placenta, and this is the umbilical cord. Now what will happen? A new layer of decidua will be formed, and it will cover the a new layer of decidua will be formed from both the sides, and it will cover the placenta in this way. Okay. Now, whenever you will watch this placenta from above in this way, you will think that the placenta is only this much. You can't see the placenta which is hidden in this part. By this, it will be hidden all over like this. In this way. The actual placenta will be there within inside, but when you will see from above, it will appear that only this much part of the placenta is there. This is called as circumvallate placenta. The decidua partly covers the placenta and it looks smaller than the original placenta. This is called as the circumvallate placenta. So this was about the types of the placenta based on the shape of the placenta. Now third we have the according to the attachment according to the attachment of the umbilical cord. So generally, normally the placenta should be discoidal, and from the middle the umbilical cord should come out in this way, and this umbilical cord should contains the fetal blood vessels in this way. But now, depending upon the attachment of the umbilical cord, there are three types of placenta. Assume that this is the decidua and this is the placenta. So generally or normally the umbilical cord should go in this way. But if the umbilical cord goes in this direction, that is from sidewise, it will go from sidewise, that is, or from the margin, then it is called as marginal type of placenta. Marginal placenta. When it goes from the margin, it doesn't comes from the middle, it comes from the margin. The umbilical cord enters the placenta from the margin or from the side, then it is called as marginal. Assume that this is the placenta, then you will see somewhere over here. You won't see it from the middle, you will see somewhere from the side. This is called as marginal placenta. Now what is the next thing? Assume that this is the decidua and this is the placenta. Now these are the umbilical blood vessels, and before entering the placenta, before entering the actual placenta, these blood vessels actually get divided just before entering the placenta in this way. Okay, so this is called as the funcate placenta. The blood vessels actually get divided before entering into the placenta, then it is called as the funcate placenta. And the last one, decidua abysalis, placenta, So if this is the placental blood vessels, these are the umbilical blood vessels or the fetal blood vessels. Once this is the combination of both of this. So what will happen? It will enter the placenta from sideways, and also before entering the placenta, it will give small branches. But these branches will go inside the uterine wall. Okay, so the combination of the marginal and the funcate placenta, this is called as the velamentous placenta. Velamentous placenta. So we have three types of placenta based upon the attachment of the umbilical cord. The marginal placenta, in which the umbilical cord enters from the side. This marginal placenta is also called as the battledore placenta. Next we have the funcate placenta, and third we have the velamentous placenta. This was all about the types of placenta and the functions of the placenta. Let's revise everything. So what are the functions of the placenta? Exchange of gases, nutrients, hormone production, metabolic waste, transfer of maternal antibodies, and the drugs from the mother to the fetus. These were the functions of the placenta. Now types of the placenta. There are three criteria upon which we will classify the placenta. So the first is according to the position of the placenta. This is position. According to the position of the placenta, we have placenta parietalis and we have placenta praevia. So placenta praevia, there are 4 parts more. The 1 degree placenta praevia, 2 degree placenta praevia, 3 degree placenta praevia, and 4 degree placenta praevia. This is the normal position or the normal place where the placenta has to be formed. That is the upper segment of the posterior part of the fundus, posterior wall of the fundus. It is the normal place of the placenta formation. But if it takes place in the lower uterine segment, then it is called as placenta praevia. Then at the junction of the upper and the lower is called as 1 degree. Completely inside the lower uterine segment, then is 2 degree. At the junction of the lower uterine segment and the internal os, this is the internal os, then it is 3 degree, and completely over the internal os is the 4 degree. 4 degree is the most dangerous one, upon which if you have the 4 degree placenta previa, then normal vaginal delivery is not possible. Sometimes also in 3rd degree also normal vaginal delivery doesn't take place. So now the next criteria is according to the shape of the placenta. Normally the placenta is discoidal in shape. So if there are 2 lobes, then bilobe placenta. Then there are many lobes, then multilobe placenta. If it is diffused, then it is diffused placenta. If there is a successor of a small part of placenta ascended, then it is placenta succenturata. Then a hole is then placenta fenestrate. And then circumvallate placenta means small part of decidua arises from all over, and then it covers the placenta, and then only this part of the placenta can be visible. Therefore, it appears that a small part of placenta is only present. The rest is actually present, but it is hidden below the decidua. This is called as circumvallate placenta. Then according to the attachment of the umbilical cord, we have the marginal placenta where the umbilical cord enters from the margin or from the side. Then we have the funcate placenta where the blood vessels actually gets divided before entering into the placenta. And the third is velamentous placenta, which is the fusion of both of these. That is, the blood vessel will enter from the side, but before entering it will get divided, and these branches of the blood vessel will enter into the uterine wall or the decidua basalis. So this was all about the types of the placenta. Thank you guys for staying with me in this lecture. I hope you liked the lecture, and also please like my lecture, please subscribe to my channel, also share with your other friends. Thank you so much guys.